Aria for three.
Kia ora whānau and welcome back to the 2025 Whakatane tournament, the 37th year of Whakatane. And with me today I have Dan Nicol. We've got a new panel on today and we thought we'd split it. I'm Peter McIntyre and I'll be your host today. Before I do that, I'd just like to just thank our sponsors again, Whakatane Touch Association Charitable Trust, the Whakatane Ōhope Community Board, the Lion Foundation, One Foundation and Clearsite Consultancy. Awesome, we have with us Dan Nicol, so pleasure to have you here, Dan. Just give us your thoughts on what's going to happen today.
It's going to be semi-finals footy. It's the type of footy that we all play for, and between, I guess, two of the most prestigious clubs and two clubs that are always here and hereabouts when it comes to our Whakatane tournaments of the last 5 or 6 years. It's just going to be a cracker of a game. This is a mate versus mate game, coming across from nationals, across from clubs, across from PTL. Get to mix and mingle between these two clubs, so it's just going to be another classic between Pearl Jam and Playin.
Just give us a call on your team list today, Dan, and what you're looking at with your Pearl Jam side.
The Pearl Jam side's coming in a little bit of a form from the day. Saw them earlier on the day and got a good score earlier on, but I guess there's a couple of sets of brothers, the Durban Burgess brothers, George, Tommy and Dan, and also Ezra Morgan, Tafia, Daniel Morgan, Putaranga are probably ones that we could probably look out for in the Pearl Jam squad today.
Nice, Dan, thank you. And in the playing up side, we have Wiremu Takare, very esteemed coach, and I think with playing upside, we're in a bit of a redevelopment stage. We've got some very astute outsides in Rehana, Finch, and on the other side, who are two New Zealand wingers, Finlay Barnett. You know, running the middle, we've got Pokaiawa, and he is, form-wise, he's going really, really well. I think what you'll find today is we'll have a team approach from playing up in terms of what you're looking at. I think Tatui through the earlier rounds was looking dangerous, and obviously Tian McIntyre is formidable if he gets the right platforms. I think defensively it's going to be interesting because they're such well-coached teams. Dan, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly that, and you hit the nail on the head with Wiremu Takare. He's been an influential person in my touch journey. He's probably one of the best coaches going around, especially when it comes to defensively, and they're probably led by this defensive unit with Sean Law. And when you've got wingers like Finn Barnett and Razor, it's hard to get them on the outside. But yeah, hitting across when you've got Strohorts like Lance Davidson, Nathan Rollinson in the links, and makes defence on both sides probably one of the factors that are going to determine the outcome of the next 30 minutes.
And I totally agree. I think, if I was to call it, I think the inexperience of the young links that they have in playing up could be the difference. However, if they use that experience from those two wingers, that could balance it out, but there is some extreme strike. I talked earlier when I'd done the call on Pearl Jam, your brother, just his IQ and his knack of seeing mismatches, and obviously Daniel and Nate with his speed, and Daniel I think he's a bit of an all-rounder. He's got a release, yeah. So very interesting matchup.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. Like I said, this is mates on both sides, and I might be a Pearl Jam boy, but I am going to put all my chips in the middle and see how the defense. I think defense is going to win this one. Both teams strike rate across. Kurakanga McIntyre already said with Lewis Nicol and Smokey with Tamatea Winiana, but it's going to be a game that's won by defense.
Nice, so let's get into it, and Pearl Jam start with the ball. This is 2 halves of 15s, and if it's draw at the end, it will go to a drop-off.
already with a great lift in the middle there from Playin up, and it's a great touch there by Sean Moore. Just getting up there early, winning that ruck, and getting a clean press out of that gate.
And I think good intent defensively, and even with Pearl Jam there, their intent on their physicality, real good.
Yeah, it's going to be one. I think it's going to be an orange zone game. Both teams like to come out. Both teams are quite expansive and creative in the orange zone. It's going to be definitely a game that's defined by the orange zone, just as we see here. Some enterprise from Playin up a little bit early.
Yeah, I think they didn't get the kickstart they wanted, and then they just had to ab-lib and put it on their box side, so, early days, but like you said, it's going to be, that orange zone is going to be crucial.
Yeah, and I would probably expect to see the Urban Burgess boys come here and settle the crew down a little bit. But again, there's just coaching errors on both sides. I think a little bit of semi-finals jitters.
Yeah, I have a new mantra, like ruck, pass, catch, and the ruck for me is very, very important. And the team that controls their ruck and then dominates it, it just gives them a better platform to get outcomes. So interesting that Pearl Jam have sort of lost 2 rucks there, so very interesting.
Yeah, and that's the thing they're probably going to be the difference between both sides too, is they're really good at getting a really good platform coming into that third and fourth touch, but it's just going to see who can, I guess, execute on the back end as Pearl Jam get a little bit of a mix-up coming into latch touch. It's the stuff that we probably expected at open men's level. We should tidy up on both sides.
Yeah, I felt they were a little bit clunky today in the earlier round, and now Playin up get their ascendancy in terms of field position. In saying that, I think we just need to be a little bit more dominant in terms of who's calling what and roles and responsibilities as Chops comes onto the field.
Yeah, and we give this man McIntyre any space and you give him the 7 and they're going to make you pay. Beautiful line there by Chops, beautiful pull. And Mania, his off-ball work, I think off-ball work is something that we probably don't get a little bit of respect for, but the off-ball work's just as good as that release ball from Chops there.
And I totally agree. If I was to compare, and when we're in our country, we compare ourselves to each other. What I try and do is compare myself to the best in the world, and unfortunately, that aspect of our game, the assisting off-ball stuff, is something that if we don't improve, we're really, really going to end up second in the world consistently. I know that might be a little bit far-stretched from Whakatane, but I add it all up. Yeah.
Let's just see if this set can get a good finish here. Recount there.
And I think that was a good play by Razor, because due to the fact that the link had collapsed hard there, the follow ball was the ball to play. So interesting. Yeah, really good.
Catch pass there.
Oh, I love the sweep early release. Razor sort of got caught in a half. He should have lifted. And then just the link wing connection there, I felt could have been better in a shut there. But it's an answer back, Dan.
Yeah, and then just looking at that replay, this is bread and butter, and probably a set that we could see a lot, especially within last year's final with those 3 boys, our New Zealand Opens reps. It's what they get paid the big bucks in Pearl Jam to produce. So.
Yeah. And just with your Pearl Jam setup, how's that going? Like everyone sees the stuff on the field, with yourself and your brother and, everyone helping there. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going really well. It's a great dive, great touch there, equally as the dive from Takuha. But it's just been awesome to know where we've come from,
Nice.
From a team that played 21 mix all these years ago into now play well in the mixed grade and then do not so bad within the men's grade, and I guess going into that women's space quite recently. It's just been awesome, and when we get to play teams like Playin up, execution there at the end.
Yeah, I just think that, again, the assisting lines, if they hold at depth, they're going to then create that 2v1 a little bit better, and they were just a little bit flat there. Tip-on is absolutely an option, but yeah, I think and that's better from Playin up.
Oh, that's unfortunate. They had won those first 2 touches.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I agree, Dan.
both these teams, you give them the 7, then they're both can really execute, and they both have players that are just real dominant on the 7, and I could probably see the set organised with Lewis and Daniel there, and that's a coach killer right there, 7 on the field.
Well, yeah, so those are things that, in hindsight, that again, with our assisting line running, just this box management, surely they'll tidy that up in there. So playing up, get let off there, so that's a good one. But they just, again, I'll take it back to those fundamentals. That ruck would be the top fundamental, I'd have to say, that if they win, the team that wins the ruck in this game and consistently puts that together has the opportunity to win the contest. Just with your Pearl Jam efforts and what you're doing at the moment, how do you find it as a player coach, Dan? How's that working for you?
Yeah, interesting. We have our moments between the boys. I think the boys getting to a stage where they probably don't need me anymore. But yeah, just winning that moment with it down the sideline. Lance Davids to see if he can get to the corner here. Great chase by Mania King. We call him the Liberian. He seems to get one of these runaways every game. He seems to be a pickpocketer. If it's not an intercept, it's a crazy runaway like that.
Yes, and that was a great ad-lib try, as we'd call them. They gave them some space down the short side there. He steps back, feeds that one, eyes up, and then they do a follow in and then goes for the corner. Well done.
Yeah, and it's actually a play that we've actually taken from Playin up in the past when they have that 4-2-2 press. If you press with that, the far wing comes off the wing of touch 1, you can just get an easy bounce out there with Pearl Jam exploiting that. But we can see this man here on the ball, he's probably going to answer back if we give him too much time and space. He's a very difficult man to get on the outside of a Nathan Rollinson. Just quite makes a lot of athletic touches.
Yes, I totally agree. And just with his athleticism, it's something that...
Yeah, ball down. Oh. And like we said, give that man any space. He's going to punish you, Tian McIntyre.
I think he reminds me of his dad. He plays a lot like his dad. Where's his dad's number? Yeah,
I could probably. Yeah. I would say more his niece.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay, I'll give him that. But great rolling dive. It's something that hasn't been. I think all those little micro skills that we've got in the game, the rolling dive, the ruck, the latch and late, the eyes up on the 2-1. I think that there's stuff that we're so systematic in terms of our coaching that we can lose, and it's something that we need to bring back in, Dan,
Yes. Bit of a messy set at the end there. Looks like both teams just on back-to-back sets. Probably could look to improve that one. But we'll just see how Pearl Jam respond to playing up, swinging the momentum off that try and just getting a real good D-stop, causing the area halfway.
And I find after that D-stop that this is very important as Lance gets in behind there. And then just that final ruck.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, so...
That man's... Yeah, that looks like Daniel there.
Yeah.
Hamstring heavily strapped.
Yeah, and that's not good for both things, the Pearl Jam momentum and the Pearl Jam team.
It's one of the most influential players when he's available in touch football, not just club and provincial, but probably nationally too. And one of the informed players at the last couple of nationals when he has been here, and that will probably be a big loss for Pearl Jam for the rest of this game.
Yeah, I think he's just his leadership and his vision in terms of what he brings to a group. I think it's been so great to see that develop over the last couple of years. And for me, it's as much as you can have a good player, I think that leadership and how he brings that across a group is one of the most important things, I feel.
Yeah, and there's very contrasting leadership styles when it comes to someone like Lewis Nicol. Very outspoken leadership style versus Daniel, who likes to just take the boys on their back and lead through his actions. Probably see the ball wrap around with Tian McIntyre here again.
They just need soft hands there, you know, just those basic fundamentals. It's a basic 32 pure play, but just need soft hands there, you know, and, you know, taking a little bit of the intensity out and looking at a little bit more accuracy. As Pearl Jam come out and go into the transition again, I'm hoping Danion's all right to carry on for the day.
It looks like for a great scoop there, and maybe a great recovery touch.
Great recovery. I think that Playing Up really need to watch their overwatch in terms of ensuring that they're a little bit tighter there.
Two interesting calls there, and there it is.
Yeah.
I think should have been a penalty from that push about a touch ago.
Yeah.
But that was a big D-stop there from the young boys and Playing Up. And again, we've just, with that penalty, we've put on the strike players from Playing Up to probably execute. So it's going to be a big ask here for Pearl Jam to defend this one out.
I think just discipline in terms of this game, the team that finds their discipline and pulls it together. I don't know where Danion is at the moment, but I think a few of the Pearl Jam boys need to step into that role and just give them some consistency and discipline. And if I was the Playing Up team, I'd just look to do the same, just complete and look for consistency. Yeah,
and we love the word process, and I think both teams just need to, I guess, buck down into their processes. We see these two go at it all the time in Pakuranga, and it's a team that it's a game that's always won that process over there. So I'm expecting the same for the rest of this half, and I guess and the rest of the game. Whichever team can get back into their A to Bs and go to work and stick to their processes, I think they're going to get the better outcomes. And that's great, another catch pass.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And I think his assisting line, although it was late, the catch pass that he done with his assisting line was good. You know, I'm liking Tian off the 32 out ball because it gives him an option to then play his skill set besides his dive. I think it's a great option with that 32 out. If he starts it in a little bit tighter, then I think he'll get that latch on. You know, it's something that's lost in our game.
Yeah, and when you've got, like, on the replay there, someone like Harry Carter who's been quite astute at the 32 pick shape in the last couple of seasons, it just gives another threat, and Tian's probably one of the best at those 3-on-2s and picking the correct player there. As Tamatea answers back, this is just going to be a ping pong until someone decides we're going to stick to our process, get a good D-stop and play some touch footy.
And I think that defensively, our link, I think Takoha could have helped a lot more there. He just left our middle, he sort of hung him out to dry a little bit, so he has to be a little bit more active in terms of what's going on there. But good on Tamatea.
And it is a pet play from the Pearl Jam boys, who like to get both middles up and back our quickie exponents, as we can see live with the Tui on the back foot. One thing we do talk about when we're defending sets, especially off tap-offs, is if you can win touch 4 before the 7, you give a team one opportunity to actually get a strike. And Chops answers back.
Yeah, I've really liked Chops' form today. He's been going and getting some, and in the past maybe that's the Chops sort of left that behind, and this today I've seen him go and get some, so well done.
Yeah, and it's the Chops that you probably see more so for Metro as well. It's the Chops that's just he just goes and gets it, and he lives for these moments. He lives for those plays, and that's just bread and butter for Chops.
All those divers out there, and I always see use their outside arm extended. That was a fine example of a rolling outside arm. Well done, Chops.
We'll see what Lewis and Lance here can come up with in the middle. Oh. Not too sure about that try. I'm not too sure if that was good or tackle, or just an unfortunate slide on that defense. Might have to talk to the groundsman about a ward patch down there, but
I think, you've got to take that as he goes into the quickie. And I talked to Sean about closing that gate way too early, and Sean's following on that when he doesn't. There's no threat there. It's something I've discussed about balancing that middle gate, and Sean's body just gave it up totally.
Yeah, and I guess it's especially when you've got someone like Lewis, it is quite hard. And here's Harry through the middle there. It is quite hard because most teams just get into that. We need to shut him when we see him in the quickie shape. But yeah, and just that little slip and that little pick through, that little nose through from Harry, could probably see him get more into the game, more especially on those picks.
Yes. the thing about this with the picks, we've got a very short in goal today.
Yes.
So you know, as much as that power pick play is prominent, you know, you really need to run a good screen there, like a link wing screen where the wind comes in and you can get in that back one. And I love that from Lewis. I absolutely love it. Yeah. So you know, like it's a bit of ping pong now, Dan. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, just exactly what we thought. It's going to be a ping pong. It's just going to be the team that can, I guess, execute a little bit better, stick to that process when it comes to that orange zone. And both teams on both sides actually a little bit more fortunate with Pearl Jam with a couple of their tries, but playing up, just showing when they execute and they execute well, they can get those fundamentals.
Very exciting. You know, I love the youth in Pearl Jam. I really do, and I'm really loving the youth in playing up. So it's exciting for our game. You know, in higher honours. And have you ever thought yourself about that higher honours stuff? And what's your thoughts there?
Yeah. We'd love to be in the system. I guess looking at the next World Cup, and then one day maybe in the coaching circles as well, and just learning from kind of the best at the moment. I've had some influential coaches over my time with Tony Langaheto and Pete Sams,
nice.
And Joel currently, but yeah, also playing under the likes of Mark Hodson and Wiremu Takarai, just real steelhooks of the game. And one day we'll get to that opportunity, but for here and now, there's no better place to be than
Then
down
2025 Whakatane whānau. Come down if you're not already here. This is the first of our semis. And just going to our sponsors, the Whakatane Touch Association Charitable Trust, the Whakatane Ōhope Community Board, the Lion Foundation, the One Foundation, and Clearsite Consultancies. You know, just to all those sponsors that help out our beautiful game. You know, like, if you have a business out there and you want to be promoted in our beautiful game, there's no better place than the Whakatane to do it. It is I'd say, one of the most prestigious tournaments on our calendar. And at the moment we have two great clubs, you know, representing their, obviously, teams and their whānau on the biggest club stage that there is. So and it's very exciting. You know, there's no sport like it where you can be so close, Dan.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those, I guess, touch has developed so much in the last 5 to 10 years where it is one of those sports where anyone can win it on their day. As we pop into the second half here and look at some of those highlights, we could probably see the same faces, Tian McIntyre and Kurakanga come out off this tap-off, so it's going to be a big ask for Pearl Jam. Just looking out at this defensive unit, usually Daniel is in replace of Toby, so just looking out in the sub-box, we might have lost him for the rest of the game, so it's going to be a big task for Pearl Jam to step up and take that leadership role from him. As we can see, playing up, set up into their 32 shape for McIntyre here.
That's good, that's better. I still like Tian on that 32 option, and that's good.
Yeah, that was brought down.
Yeah.
If you get two players up on Tian, really smart there. Got the ball in that 32, knew it wasn't on, came back, drew both middles up, and if you get both middles up on Tian, I don't think there's many middles in the world that's going to stop him on that cookie shape.
Yeah, I think they just needed to hold that and stabilise it a little bit longer and get them frustrated and let the ref push you out rather than being both high at the top of the gate and then, you know, your cookie man's going to go and get it. But interesting, a good start. Here we go, what's the answer? Oh, and I talk about the outsides in terms of Finn and Razor, you know, like that's a quality of a winger.
Yeah, and I spoke about it earlier on with their game with Elements, with the battle of the wingers there, that our wingers probably don't get the same, I guess, highlight reels as you'd see the likes of Tamatoa Ropati or E4 Jones, but wingers can win or lose a game, and they can. Commentators curse there, but
I think that was not the winger there so much, but everyone bailing to the box, you know, and that's a good set for Pearl Jam. You know, to keep them in the half, you know, they got what they wanted. They really need to come out and set some ascendancy here. Just on that winger thing, you know, when I had my time in the men's, I never said there was no more important player on the field. I had the luxury of having a Michael Kavanagh, and I ranked him as the best in the world. Even though we weren't the best in the world, we certainly had one of the best wingers in the world. So
it's two back-to-back reads from Finlay.
Big plays. Yeah. And you've got the big ball players on the field at that time. So, you know, like...
Yeah, and if you can shut that set off, especially with good reads like that, just cause a momentum shift, and Playin Up will are the type of teams that get on the back of that momentum.
Bit of ad-lib there coming out of transition, but they needed it because they certainly were in trouble.
Yeah, Playin Up with all the momentum at the moment.
Yeah.
Getting some really good defensive stops and leading into... Probably could have tidied that up coming into the last touch. We'll see what Whakatane can do here.
I just think Takoha just needed to work off that. You know, he committed to that late before the true latch had happened there, and it's another skill. I go back to the work off the ball, and, you know, we just need to get better in that space to make our game better, you know?
Yes, yeah, definitely. You can see Pearl Jam kind of probably losing the rucks in those contests at the moment, which has probably given a more ad-lib to Playin Up to win that set there. Just great contact in the middle of that orange zone from Chops, but yeah, 7-7 touch, this is what we've been wanting for, and it's just going to be those processes again and see who can.
So if you had that box at half-time, Dan, what would you be saying to your Pearl Jam brothers?
I would have been talking about just identifying the likes of who's had the hot hand. We haven't been defending well on who's actually had the hot hand. We've been auto-collapsing on people that we shouldn't have auto-collapsed. Kurakanga and McIntyre have both scored off pet plays. They've both scored off plays that we see quite regularly, and it looks easy, Whānau, but trust me, from a defender who's a 5% attacker, it's not easy, but they make it look easy. So I would have just been identifying that at half-time, but also we haven't been clean in this part of the game, our orange zone, which is something that we've do a lot for there. This will be an interesting call. Yeah,
they got the back to one there. I think a little bit, Manai just needed to chuck a little bit of discipline in there, you know, swiping at the ball. You know, let's trust the process.
Yeah, could have trusted the middles a little bit more there, because they were quite stable off that pick.
Good there by Tian, just holding that space there and not committing to it.
Probably this is a four-man for Pearl Jam where they would want to see something or have something happen. The long ball from Louis.
Oh, I love that. I love that. He does that so casual. You know, like the casualness that Lewis does with that little sweep and then just stops and, you know, holds that defence line and just winds and throws that big one.
He just comes around at
nice and casual, steps back. I don't think that we had to collapse on that. There wasn't a true threat. But, you know,
I think it's the respect that he's earned when he comes around on those certain shapes. Yeah. He just caused so much indecision, but it's also his tempo. He goes, when we defend and we talk about defence, we're always defending players that run 100 miles an hour, and not many situations do we get that where the librarian gets another pick.
And he shifts it again, as he done in that first one.
Playin Up will need a big D set here to swing that momentum back. Pearl Jam are the type that will... Not too sure what's going on there.
Yeah, they're just tidying each other's hats up, you know. As you said, they're all friends until the other losing team. Yeah.
You'll probably see Nate coming on the sweep here. And that was a great saving touch there.
Yeah. Threats everywhere. I'm loving it, you know, and I'm loving how Lewis is conducting the threats. Really, really good. And he needs to, with Danyan gone, I think.
And that's a pet play from Lewis. He likes to, most players when they're in that 33 channel will check the ball to try to draw the middles out. He actually creeps one over, and I won't spill out too many secrets, but that is something that he would do just to draw a penalty or just to get both middles up, just to get the right shape that he wants.
Dan, just in this environment, everything's, you know, open and fair play. Whatever you want to tell us here stays here. You know, you're talking to the country.
Yeah, that's again, I think that's just Lewis dictating. Nothing too flash, but he actually got all four up on that touch. And when you send Nate on that sweep and you've got a middle that's probably out of shape, he's too good on that sweep shape, especially within the link shapes where he's probably at his highest ratio. And we saw that at the World Cup. We'll just see if Playin Up can respond. And speaking of sweep shapes, Mr. Takoha himself.
Yeah, I didn't think the contact, that touch was very good at that one. You know, I think it was too passive. Yeah. Oh. We just need to be
Just
sharper there.
unfortunate.
Yeah, Tian's ruck was a little bit passive too. He's usually better at that arm out, low hip.
Yeah, and this is where Pearl Jam likes to go to work here, and we like to play in the back ends of the second half, and we play off the back of momentum. But I think what's positive for Playing Up is looking across the Wooden Takarai. There's no phase there. He knows that we're in for a grind, we're in for a good contest here, and he knows that the boys could probably pull it back.
And just as you say that,
Yeah.
they run a release early and a follow in there.
Yeah, I think
Beautiful.
that was more opportunistic with
Oh,
the
yes.
with the trip up. I don't know where the groundsman is, but it means to be water patches all over the grass here, Whānau. But I think that they're just opportunistic off that one for Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Looked like a middle pick, and just here someone fell over, and it chops there and just falling into that hole where he possibly could have helped or
But I
may
thought-
have been if he was. Yeah.
I thought Nate's speed actually tied up Takoha really, really well for that follow play. So a little bit of controversy in the call here.
Should be a Playing Up ball here. Oh, they're just saying that didn't tap the ball, but we're back here, Whānau and Whakatane, with Tatui coming on his favourable sweep. It was a great release, but
Great touch, great touch.
great touch there, but
Yeah.
probably could have been a little bit more stable. But I guess when you've got Tatui with his footwork coming on a sweep, no one's stable enough for that.
Oh, and we know Lance is going to be up in that channel. The passive on Lance to that right-hand side, I'd be running it at 33 ruck and enticing him to push up into that channel.
Yeah, and we talk about it a lot when we're looking for attack shapes on links that like to lift a little bit more. If you either run the passive or just give a pump, you get them to lift up, and then you can either run a floater or that passive, but that passive shape's always on links that we know historically like to get into that passive shape.
I'm loving the IQ, Dan, I really am. That's really good.
And
Oh,
I would say offside there. I think Tian had just the IQ of Tian there to get a second phase ball, know that that Lance has come out of that ruck into quickie, which is probably a good touch here from Isaac on the wing. He's probably not our specialist winger. He's usually our anchor man in the orange zone, but equally just a great defense.
Tian's going to the box and putting on some fresh attack, so that's good. I would have kept it on with myself. I would have been a little bit more selfish with the ball.
Yeah, just with that. I guess when he's been the hot hand with him and Kurakanga, so I probably could have just held one and then told the boys if we didn't get a dot, I'm going to go out and sub on for him. And that's just bread and butter for Playing Up. That's just a pet play between those two. They love the quick backs on the sweep shapes, and if you've got those three in particular, if you've got Tatui and Takua coming on a sweep, that give back, especially when Chops is at dummy half, is majority of the option, and something that probably Pearl Jam should have been a little bit better to read, and that's just great no-look pass there.
Yeah, I love that lateral movement that pulls that middle and locks the shoulders the other way, and then the release just
Yes,
to define
definitely.
that 3-2, and it's still got to be executed, but very nice.
Middles look really stable here from Playing Up, so if they can get a dot here, or they can get a defensive stop, especially with someone like Lewis and Nathan on, they'll be big.
And that's a good hit there from the. We can't afford to give them time, so when they're in the blind, it's something that we'll do from the open to strike that one, and we needed it too with Nate on the ball.
We call this fellow right foot Ryan. We'll see if one comes out here. And great defense from Playing Up, and that's exactly what I was saying. This is the momentum that they're looking for, and if they can get a good finish of the set, 4 minutes up, we're going to have a game on our hands.
That's good. It's a good set. So who are they putting on?
Yeah, that's just unfortunate there. That's just it's a coach killer. Those are one of those areas where we're coming on, and they're coming onto a 32 shape with McIntyre out here at the left link, and with, I guess, his ratio at the moment, his strike rate was probably looking into something a little bit positive for Playing Up there.
Yeah, I think that transition zone, the Playing Up really needed to tidy that up. I don't think there was enough control around that, Dan, and like with the score at what it is, it was a big play.
Yeah, and just see what Pearl Jam can do here, if they can get a try to just get that 2-try buffer. But just equally, they are really good on defense, and Great follow play.
And I love the tactical call there, you know, with Phoenix there being a bigger body, and his profile and release is quite hard. You know, just that follow play on that bigger man. Very, very smart.
Yeah, that's very intelligent, especially with these two. These two have been, I guess, you know, made their debut at Whakatane 2019 when we made the final there to see their development, but also these two work on that all the time. This is their bread and butter. They work on it at training, outside of training too. And this is it. If Playin up can beat this defensive stop here, yeah, it's going to be an interesting 2.5 minutes.
Yes, and exciting, you know, 8-6, like, very good from Nate.
Yeah, that's 2 lifts now. Let's see if Playin up can actually ID that. It's 2 early lifts.
I'd play the skip straight to the link. It's, you know, it's something that you need to address just in our... Oh,
that's a great
That's
pick.
a great up in the lane.
That's a great pick there. There's actually a sweep shape that we don't really talk about much that I've seen introduced into the open men's shape, where the middle actually picks up, squares up the defender and releases, and I actually probably saw a try there if that intercept didn't come.
Yeah, very, very good. Oh, and then now you're going to speed. Oh.
I think Pearl Jam will probably need someone in the box yelling at them just to control the game down and game manage a little bit.
Well, by all means, if you want to yell from here, I'm all good with it, you know, as long as we keep our commentary going.
And that's a pet play for Law. You can't shut him on that 33 shape. He's too smart. He's going to get you. And it's just he'll open you open side, make it look like, and his tempo means that he can just work off their left foot. He's got underrated feet. Not as good as his older brother, but...
Totally agree.
Yeah, just looking to square out the defender. He looks open, goes short. It's just something that he's been doing quite a few years now off that down the lane shape.
Oh, that's better. Better.
Yeah, that's a better shape. But this is the man that you want on ball.
I think Manaya's line, he could look at latching the winger and chop that line. Oh,
that's a great.
Right.
Oh, here we go. This is going to get interesting here.
And I think it doesn't need to.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to. Phoenix just needs to keep his cool.
We just need to keep our cool here, lads. This isn't rugby. Majority of us didn't make it in rugby, so that's why we're here today. And we're here today, whānau. Didn't quite crack the NRL, so here we are.
And the ones that did, you know, the Sean Johnsons, he would have.
And that's
nice
beautiful.
Ball.
That tip-in's on.
And that's an answer.
That's an answer back that you
well
wanted
done,
if you're playing up. And that's the man you probably wanted more on the ball throughout that second half.
Yes, I agree, Dan. I agree. You know, not that he's my son, but, you know, he wears my number.
Yeah, and that was just beautiful. Just into his long ball is probably something that doesn't get enough respect for, as well as his diving game, and it's just his bread and butter. As Pearl Jam looks to get the cookies there, but just an awesome game of touch footy between two proud clubs. And just as a Pearl Jam man myself, I don't love many clubs out there as much as I love the Playin Up boys. And as much as I am elated at that win, it is a bit heart-wrenching, and big ups to the Playin Up boys and to both these teams just putting on a spectacle for this semi-final.
That's amazing, Dan. I just want to congratulate you and really enjoyed the commentary. It's not often that I get to the pleasure of understanding and conversing with an elite IQ person in the game. So I have to commend you on that and commend Pearl Jam. To Playin Up, I think we're in a development stage. I just think there's a few things that we could have done better, but I think the best team won at the end of the day. Yeah,
and they're going in the right direction. And when you've got the likes of Whakatāne and you've got all these boys that have been here a long time, the Sean Laws of the world, Takoha Raupatis, Reihana Suda Finch, you're going to get that development, and the boys are just going to learn from that pain. As someone that's experienced this pain down here in Whakatane a few times, it's you come back better for it, and you come back with that hunger. But yeah, just awesome being here with you, Pete. Always loved your whānau. So much respect for your whānau within the touch community and what you've done for our for touch when it comes to Aotearoa. And I guess from a former Auckland boy myself, my first ever time from playing with Pearl Jam was actually playing against you, Fujirai, which was about 10 years ago, which is a story I haven't shared yet, so it's been awesome to share the commentary with you. Nice,
and I wish you all the best in the final, my friend, and thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and your experience and your insight to Pearl Jam. Really a pleasure.
Awesome. Kia ora whānau.
Kia ora
Yeah.
whanau. Just to our sponsors once more, the Whakatane Association Charitable Trust, the Whakatane Ōhope Community Board, the Lion Foundation and the One Foundation, Clearsite Consultancy. We thank you for your support for the Whakatane tournament. And to all the whānau out there, get down, there's finals to come where you can see Pearl Jam go to that final. And it's going to be a spectacle, I will let you know. Kia ora whanau.